side should be 1/2 of the front to the back. I mean, the lateral, the anterior to posterior should be half that of the transverse. I'm looking, everything looks good. And now I'm going to go ahead and palpate. Now what is this called when I put my hands here? Tactile fremitus. Can you say 99? 99. 99. 99. I'm going to come back here. 99.
You're gonna feel vibration, right?
And remember, you should feel more vibration up here and less in the bases. If there was a consolidation or a mass, you would feel more tactile fremitus, and wherever the mass or the consolidation was. Okay, so there's my palpation. Now, I'm not going to percuss, but I'm going to do auscultation, but I'm going to go ahead and finish some palpation by doing a maneuver called thoracic expansion. So, Deidre, if you could just stand up to the back. I'm going to get them to turn around. Now what you want to do is take your hands, pull to make a cleavage, okay? You want to pull to make a cleavage. Now Deidre, take a deep breath in and out. And do you see how it was normal expansion on both sides? Yep. Deidre, you can turn around the front. You don't have to do both. You don't have to do the anterior and the posterior, but if you want to, you can. Deidre, go ahead and take a deep breath and out. Good. Now, listening to her lungs. I'm going to do anterior. There are 8 in the front, 8 in the back, and 3 on the sides, okay? You always move from left to right and right to left. You can never listen here, then listen here, because you have to listen to the same thing on the what? Opposite side. So Deidre, take a deep breath. And out. Again. Again. Good. 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 I would come up underneath her shirt, and I would go here, and then I could go here, right? Here, and then here. But I don't want to lift her shirt up, but we're on a video, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to know the places. Deidre, can you turn around? You guys, I'm not going to lift her shirt up, but you would never, ever, ever go on top of clothing. Do you sometimes go on top of clothing? Yeah. Yes, you do. But dudes, listen, let me just tell you from a clinical perspective as far as knowing what's the difference. When that shirt rubs against the head of the stethoscope, you don't know if it is the clothing or if it's an actual sound. Y'all know that.
Yes.
You know that you've heard a sound, you wait, you go, hold on a second.
Like
Yeah, it sounds like fine crackles. Let me go underneath here and make sure everything's okay. So for practical purposes, never, ever, ever go on top of clothing. Now, here's something else where we make mistakes. This is called the what? The scapula. You cannot hear anything through bone, can you?
No.
Do you see people going out here?
Yes.
I'm thinking, I feel like saying, hey, what you hear out there? I feel like saying it when I see them do it. I feel like saying, tell me what that sounds like. I bet it sounds like nothing because you can't hear through bone, right? Can you? You can't hear through bone. So you find the spinal processes, and you guys, this looks like a sports bra. So you're going to go here, then here. You're going to come in some because the scapula dictates that you come in. Here, then here, here, then here, and then here, then here.
That's 10 though.
Huh?
You say 8 front,
Yeah,
8
8,
back.
yeah, that you can do 8, but I gotta tell you, you can do up to 12 in the back.
Gotcha.
Minimum is 8.
Ah,
Okay?
I
My
see.
book has 16.
Huh?
My book has 16.
I know, but there's variance in that. As long as you hit 8, you're doing good. Okay,
Awesome.
now laterals, you guys. Remember, how many lobes do you have on the right side? 3. How many do you have on the left? 2. Now, here's the problem. You guys get nervous when you're doing walkthroughs and you're like, am I on the right, am I on the left? So, for practical purposes, do 3 and 3. Doesn't that make sense to you? So you can say, Deidre, just lift your arm up a little bit, take a deep breath, and out. So there's 1, and then you're comparing here. You're going to go interior a little bit on the second lobe, and then here, and then third here, and then here. Okay? So there's your lungs down. So remember, at least 8, 3 laterals, and when you're going side to side, you go here, then down, here, then down, here, then down, here, then here. Always right to left, down, right, left to right, down, right to left, down. That's how you know that you're going incorrect. Okay, so we're done with lungs, right? So cardiovascular, sit up here, Deidre, thank you. So we're gonna do aortic. Okay, so you guys work with me. So feel your notch, see the sternal notch, the angle of Louis, then the sternal notch. Feel it on your chest. Do you feel that little notch? Okay, that is where your second intercostal articulates with your sternum. So now go over here to the right and go down one, and that is your aortic area. Okay, that's how you know where a patient's aortic area is. The second intercostal space, but that notch tells you where to go. You just feel that on their chest, come over to the right, and that first intercostal space is the aortic area. It's just that easy, okay? So you're going to do, okay, so there's her notch, and then right here is her aortic area. So aortic, what's across the street neighbor? Pulmonic, okay? I'm going to come down to the third intercostal space. What is that? Herbs. Then I'm going to come down, and I don't want to expose her, but you guys lift your arm up. Now, do you feel this little space right in here? Feel your sternum where it ends. Go up to that one little space right there. Do you feel that little hole right there? That's your tricuspid. That's where you hear the tricuspid, right there at the sternal border. Okay? And then mitral, keep your arms up, especially women. Okay, so here's your clavicle. Here's your nipple line. You're coming down to the fifth right here. Feel that little hole right there? That's where you're going to hear mitral. Right there.
Right below your breast.
Right below your breast. Fifth intercostal space, mid-clavicular. Okay? So you're going to listen with the what? The diaphragm, and then with the bell. Okay? Because remember, diaphragm tells you high-pitched sounds. What does the bell pick up? Low pitch or vascular sounds, bruits, all that kind of stuff. Murmurs, you
Now
can
the
hear
low
them.
pitch sounds like if they just have a really hard heartbeat, like if it's just really loud, can you still hear that with the bell?
You can hear it. Oh yeah, you can hear it. But what y'all are looking for are murmurs. You want to hear.
If it's going.
You want to hear those valves close. S1, 2, 1, 2. You don't want to hear. That's what you don't want to hear. So no matter what the volume is, you're looking for either an S3 or an S4 or a murmur incorporated into that. Do it. Make a murmur when I do it. Oh, okay. Okay, you ready, Deidre? See, you'll hear that throughout. That would be a pansystolic and diastolic murmur that went throughout both of the phases, okay? So that's just blood, that's like valve failure, right? So that's what you're really listening for is murmurs, and extra sounds. S3 or S4 or a murmur, which is that shooping sound.
So lub-de-dub would be.
Lub-dub is S1, S2 heard, clean.
Lub-de-dub.
Huh?
Lub-de-dub.
Lub-da-dub?
That's not.
Yeah, it just depends. It depends on where, if it was like,
It'd be like a click.
Lub-de-dub. Lub-de-dub.
well, that could be a split S2. You could have that with respirations. So if it's a normal person without problems or a kid, they can have a normal split S2, lub-de-dub, with breathing. But when they hold it, you should hear that go away. That should stop. So there could be a lot of different variants. You can hear an S3 on a kid too. So it just depends on what your population is. And a pregnant woman, you can hear a systolic murmur because they have extra fluid volume. So, okay, so that's cardiac. And now cardiac, also I gotta check all of her pulses. And remember, I check left to right. So I'm gonna check carotid. And how do you grade these? 1, 2, 4. Yeah. And what is this one?
Brachial.
Brachial. And radial. And then when I do my abdominal exam, I'll check for her aorta. But I could do FIMS, but I'm not going to make you do FIMS. What are these? Popliteal. And what is this?
Posterior
Posterior
tibial.
tibial. And then what is this?
Dorsalis
Dorsalis pubis. Okay. Now also vascular. I'm looking for edema. So I'm looking at her hands, right? I'm checking her hands, looking at her face, and then checking her feet. Okay? Now, what else am I looking for down here? Capillary refill, which I can do. It should be less than 3 seconds. Okay, now, if both of these are swollen, do I suspect a DVT? When do I suspect a DVT?
When one is big and red.
Unilateral, red, hot, beefy. So dudes, we still